that video makes me laugh. I've had that now for a long, long time. I like the ending though when it goes dun dun dun. It's like going to the opera or something, isn't it? You know what I mean? Anyway, good evening, guys, and welcome once again. I tell you what, it is dark outside. Yeah, I'm not going outside no way, and it's getting cold now. And so I'm here on the sofa, snuggled in a blanket, and doing my shows here tonight. Don't forget, our next one is at 7 o'clock with the fabulous Mark Gorman. Then we keep going on 8 o'clock. Then 9 o'clock, we we go all the way over to the USA to see Emily, and then sorry, yeah, and 10 o'clock is my last one, and that's it. So we go right around the world, guys, right around the world. Anyway, I'm speaking to. You know what? Your name. Every time I try to pronounce your name, I get mixed up. What do they? What's your name?
You see, that gives me memorable in a way. The person that no one can ever pronounce the name of. My name is Einav. That's how I
Einav.
pronounce it. Yes,
Einav.
Einav.
Right. I'll call you N. And then it's short. No, no, I won't. I'll call you N. NF. NF. Right. Okay. Okay. Welcome, NF. Right. Should have done that about 5 minutes ago, but never mind. Anyway, tell everybody about yourself again, because
Again,
there's
right.
probably people listening, and they haven't kind of like didn't see you before the first time.
I'm very happy to introduce myself. So my name is Einav Avni, and I am a confidence and empowerment catalyst. I work with men and women who are feeling not good enough to help them recognize that they have a negative self talk and limiting beliefs that are holding them back. When we identify all of these, the negative talks and the limiting beliefs, we're able to create a new self image for themselves, which basically means that they can get the lives that they really want to get, minus the negative talk and minus the limiting beliefs. So it's
Okay.
very much it's an incredible journey of connection and empowerment
Yes,
in
and
that
that's
direction.
good, isn't it? To have empowerment and the confidence to kind of like to do things more and to talk things more. But also, you've written a book, haven't you?
Yes, actually, I've written. I guess I've co-authored one book which is already live, and it's called The Power of Reinvention. And it's a book where each of us authors wrote one chapter about journey of transformation. So that's already live. And then the four ebooks that I've wrote, and then they're going to be published later on this month. They are the ones that I am actually really proud of.
Good.
Yes.
What? Tell us what they are. Tell us what they are about.
Yes, absolutely. So the overarching title of the book is "Grow Your Confidence, Change Your Name." Change your game. A manual for companies and organizations. And the idea of the four books. So each of the books is touching on a different aspect of what it's like to work in a work environment, be it in the office or any work environment, where you actually not seen, you are not encouraged to be yourself. You come
Right.
into the office and you're a number, you're a worker, but you're not who you really are. So each of these books is really talking about the negative self-talk, about imposter syndrome, about how people are behaving at the workplace, which is really challenging for them in a sense, because not only they have their own insecurities, they now also are expected to kind of put a mask on, pretend that everything is fine, and produce something that maybe they're not so confident about. So this is in a nutshell what the books are touching on.
Okay. And when you write these books, um, what do you expect when they go out? What do you expect them to do? Of course, you want them to sell, but what do you kind of want them to? Who do you want them to reach?
Right. So the books are really written for either the individual person or the team lead, for example. What I would really like to do is create a little bit of a waking up some people. because it all started when I was working with my clients and I was hearing horror stories about how they were being treated at work. And imagine that there is someone who is not so confident, someone who is has some insecurities, someone who is going through, like I said earlier, imposter syndrome. And it's this fear of being found out. It's this fear that anything that you're about to do, you're going to be, the all the light is going to be shone on you, and everyone is going to find out that actually you're not deserving of where you are, the job, the title, the money, all of that. So people anyway have these insecurities and fears within them. And now the biggest question is, what do we do with it when we get into the office? If you have a team lead, for example, they only care about money or deadlines, and there is a mismatch.
Mm,
Basically,
mm,
you're
totally agree.
expected to deliver when you don't feel that you're good enough to deliver.
Yeah.
And what I'm hoping to do is to say, hang on, when you invest in your workers, in your employees, when you invest in their confidence and their strengths and their gifts, and you're really allowing them to, to be confident enough to say, hang on, I'm not so sure about this task that you're asking me to do or about this deliverable. So when you're allowing your people to be authentically confident, to be authentic, to be who they need to be, so that you help them to elicit their powers rather than trying to put them in boxes. This is what we need to do. This is the deadline. This is the budget. It's like when you're helping people to be who they are really meant to be, you can get so much more out of them than if you are just putting them in boxes and say, right,
Mm,
we have once a month a catch up, or everything that you need to do is going to go towards your appraisals. So there's a disconnect in the work environment, and what I'm really hoping to do is for people reading it to just realize that actually when they change a little bit how they allow people to show up, they're actually going to get so much more. Because people, we go to work, we don't want to have a bad day. We want to have a good day. We want to be able to give from our knowledge and our expertise, and to know that we make a difference. But
let's go back to the change. Um, so if you were kind of like had the chance to change things, what would you change?
I would really change where the focus is, so that the focus is not necessarily about budgets and deadlines and this strict environment of deliverables, but rather on investing in the person, in the people, in the team, so that together we can produce what we need to do. Because a lot of the time, I'm speaking with my clients, and they forget that they are allowed to collaborate. They forget that they are allowed to go to their manager and ask for help or guidance, or to have conversations around that. The overall kind of the overarching belief that people seems to have is that if I tell you, or if I dare to say that I'm not 100% sure how to produce this thing, or how to create a report or deliverable or whatever it is, if I show some vulnerability, I'm going to get sacked, or it's going to impact my bonus or my appraisals. So that's what I want to do. I want to change the focus. I want to change so that we really invest in the people that we hired, so that we really allow them to show us what they can do.
Right.
There are companies out there that they actually encourage people to have some time, like time for themselves, to innovate, to go and research, to create some new ideas for the company.
Mm.
And there's, on the other hand, there's
So
companies
what
that
brought this
actually,
up? What brought this up to you then? Why are you kind of like so enthusiastic about it?
well, I work with people mainly on confidence and empowerment. So this is what I really care about. I really want to talk to people, to highlight to them that this negative conversation that they're having in their mind is universal. We all have that. But what I also really want to do is help them create a fairer environment at the workplace. Because people, and know, if they feel not good enough,
Mm.
and they don't feel they can go and talk to someone about it, then imagine that it's a terrifying environment to be in.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that everything that you do, someone is going to breathe down your neck and say that's not good enough, or why don't you do this, or you should do this.
Then their confidence blows then, don't they? When if people's down your neck like 24 hours a day, your confidence blows. You
Exactly.
don't want to work. You don't want to even be there, do you?
Exactly. And so the company is investing so much money in hiring people and trying to get the right talents. But when the talents get to the team, if there is not that environment where they can blossom, it's that the other way around is happening. And I was invited to write these books by the publisher, and it was the publisher is called Boon Book, sorry, Book Boon, and they are like a online learning environment. So there are thousands of ebooks, and they wanted some books that are more to do with confidence, how to have this soft skills in the corporate environment. And I was listening to like I said, the horror stories for my clients, and I could see, I have one of my clients, the goalpost is changing every day, and it's a really very intense job that he has. He's very high up in the director and all of that, and the goalpost keeps changing. So imagine that you're supposed to deliver and you have no idea what you're delivering because people are giving you different instructions every day, and no one is saying actually we appreciate that this is the nature of the job and this is kind of what is expected of you. So this you know poor guy is running from one place to the next, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to do, and not getting any reassurance. And then, I mean, how can you go home like that and feel like you've done a good day job? You can't, because you're constantly running all of these scenarios in your mind about what was expected, what was done, how did you deliver, what could you have done differently in different circumstances. So these books, they're really wanting to show everyone that um, you know there's two sides to every coin. If you're feeling like an imposter, for example, there's some part about in the book about how to overcome the imposter feelings, because luckily they are kind of they're not permanent. But there's also about if you are in a team and you recognize that this is that someone else in your team is going through that, so that you can help, and how to help, and what kind of conversation you can have. And it's really, I think it's really about demystifying the work environment, because I really want to make it so that it's not so rigid and that it's not so much in silo. I mean, people, it feels to me like people come to the workplace with masks on and say, okay, I'm going to just show up in whatever the least I can show up. So basically, come in, do my work, go home, get paid. And I want you to come into the work and really give everything that you have, because you want to, because you feel validated and valued and appreciated, and you know that you make a difference. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and
Some companies,
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you
yeah,
because there's a lot of people out there who's got high powered jobs, and the trouble is, it's like sales, isn't it? If they don't do that quarter for that day, they get bollocked,
mm,
and if nothing happens, then they get sacked. We, it's not fair, is it, for anybody?
it's like that's not the point, right? I mean, we spend so many hours of the day at work, and then we expect it to basically, because we had a bad day, we take it home to our lives.
Yeah,
And that's really not fair. That's not on. That it shouldn't be acceptable even.
yeah.
So, yeah, so I really just really want to have these conversations, to open up, to show people that actually, when you change, if you change it instead of business focused design into a person design. So you're looking at the person, you understand where is the insecurities, where is the lack of confidence, what help do they need, how
Yeah.
how can you help them be the person that you actually hired, right? And then you bridge these gaps, and they feel that they're seen, they feel valued. And then, because when we feel valued, we give so much more.
So
So
if
it's,
people come to you and said to you, right, Annie, I want to get some help, what can you offer them?
well, first of all, I work with the people, so the first thing that they get is a platform to talk to someone about this, where they feel very safe. And I what I do with them, I help them move away from the insecurities and the lack of confidence. So I help them see where they are contributing to the problem. I mean, of course, the company or the team might be also contributing, but also what is the invitation for them to do differently now that they haven't done before. So if someone is saying, for example, I'm a manager, but I feel insecure. I don't feel confident to speak in big team meetings or something like that, or whatever the problem is, right? So then I help them to create a different reality for themselves, to not repeat a story in the mind where they're very small, or that they don't, what they have to say is not important, or that someone is going to start judging them or laughing at them. I help them move away from that story and create a more empowering one. So all of the work that I do with my clients, it's definitely a journey, and it's definitely about saying, okay, here is where you are right now. So we're looking at the results that you have right now, and then we can see, okay, this is the behavior that created these results. So what can we do now? How can we change how you see yourself? How can you change what you are focusing on when you are interacting with other people? So the people, this is how they get their empowerment, when they realize that they already have all of the answers and all of the powers within them.
Right, good. And tell us about your books again. So, what books and where can we get and where can we buy them?
Sure. So there are 4 books in this ebooks series. Like I said, they're going to be published later on this month by Bookboon. So they're mainly
What
available
are they
for
called? Book.
Bookboon.
How do you spell that?
Book, Book, Boon, Boon.
B-O. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and the overarching title is Grow Your Confidence, Change Your Game, a manual for companies and organizations. And there is one book that is all to do with imposter syndrome, people pleasing, conflict avoiders, um, like the kind of behaviors that and traits that people are showing at the workplace. And the invitation is, of course, to talk about it rather than to ignore it and make it even worse. There is one of the books is all to do with the negative self-talk and a self-image. So basically, once you realize where the problems are, then you can start changing. Because of course, we can't change if we don't know that there is something wrong.
And that's what I want to ask you if you can come back next month and we can talk about that actual
Yeah,
subject. If is that possible?
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Just to finish this, there's another book is all to do with communication styles, which is really interesting when we think about language and how we assume that people just understand us. These books give some tips on what to look for in a language in a conversation, so that you make sure that the person really hears you and that you really make them feel heard. So that's about communication style. And the last book is really about boundaries and helping people to create an environment in the office that is, like I said earlier, that is helping you to grow and to blossom, rather than to make you feel so sad and lack of confidence and all of that, because of the environment of your workplace.
And that's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on. I love
Okay.
listening to you and everybody else does. And what we're trying to do, we get you back on next month and we can talk about more about about self help and about kind of building confidence and it will probably help people that at the moment are going through a rough time.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to talk to people about how they, whatever they're feeling at the moment, because it's so interesting. It's like people are thinking this is my problem, and then we start digging deeper, and then we understand that actually the real problem is somewhere completely different. But it's only by conversation. They say, right? You can't fix a problem with the same head that created it. So this is why these conversations are so important. Yeah.
So
But
great.
thank you
Thank
very
you
much
so
for
much.
having me.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.